Hey traders, welcome back to another daily profit and loss recap video. Today is Tuesday, September 19th. I just finished up trading for the morning. I had my first red day in a while. I lost $172. And in this video, we're going to break down my two trades today, talk about some of the things that I could have done differently so that hopefully you can take something from my trading and apply it to your own. Let's go ahead and get right into it. The first trade for me today was with the stock AMPX. This was my losing trade for the day. And the reason that this was on my radar is because this was in the trade plans in the Market Master group because of the fact that this was a big runner the previous day. This held gains really well into the close, and it ended up setting up nicely for a continuation because of the volume shelf that was in the 470 to 490 range. I was using that range this morning for a dip buy opportunity. I was expecting it to pull back into this area here, hold it as support, and then curl back up and end up squeezing to new highs up towards $6 per share. So that was kind of my thought process behind this trade. Once the market opened, I immediately bought some shares into this opening dip. It continued to dip. I started to add some shares in the 160s, and it ended up rejecting VWAP and started to fall down to new lows. So I was forced to cut losses and took a loss of $608 on that trade. So when it comes down to it, even though this was a losing trade, I did have a plan in place and I stuck to that plan, cut my losses and managed my risk. So I am okay with how this trade went overall. I will say that I did end up breaking one of my rules though by adding into this trade in the 460s. At that point in time, there was really no solid setup for a reversal. It wasn't necessarily looking like it was going to hold on to that support. So at the end of the day, there was really no reason for me to add into that losing trade. And that was something that made my loss even larger than it should have been. So that is kind of the takeaway from this trade. I mention this all the time, but it is only in your best interest to add into your winning trades and just cut your losses and keep your position small if the trade is moving against you. All right, but anyway, with that being said, moving on to the other trade for me today. This was with the stock ELUT, and there's an interesting lesson here that I want to talk about, so make sure to stay tuned through this trade. But this ended up being a nice profitable trade. I made back a good portion of my losses from AMPX. And if we take a look at the 1 minute chart, we can of course see that this was gapping up in pre-market. So naturally this was on my radar for potential gap and go. If we take a look over here at the Market Master group, opening range breakout level for this stock was $1.63. So if we fast forward a bit, ELUT was kind of just chopping around that level, right around the 160 to 163 area for the first 15 to 20 minutes or so. And I posted in the Market Master group that it was trapping short sellers on dips and that it was worth eyeing for a quick squeeze. So if we take a look at the price action here, that was right around the time that I started to buy into this position. I was buying right around $1.61. And sure enough, we get that quick squeeze up through the VWAP. If we take a look down here at the daily chart, this was a recent IPO, so there's not a ton of history to base this trade off of, but the high for this IPO was $1.75. So I knew that, of course, that was going to be a resistance level, and that's why I set a limit order in the low 170s and was able to get filled on this spike up here and lock in my profits. On that trade, I made back $436, which brought my losses for the day to $172. And I'm happy to have locked in profits up into that spike because we can of course see that it did not hold on to gains very well. It ended up rejecting that 175 to 180 area and is all the way back down in the 160s as of right now. Now we had a few traders in the chat that were asking about how to identify short sellers being trapped because of course that was what I mentioned when I was getting into this trade. And the answer really is that it kind of just comes down to using the tape, which is the level 2 in the time and sales. And you want to look for aggressive selling that gets bought right back up. So what I mean by that is let's just take this $1.55 level here because this has been acting as a bit of support over the past few hours. So if the price is kind of just consolidating here around 155 and then we get some dips down into the low 150s underneath that level, and on the tape you see a lot of aggressive selling and a lot of volume coming in. However, that dip gets bought right back up and it then reclaims that 155 level. That tells me that there are most likely a lot of short sellers that are trapped now underneath this $1.55 level. They're short selling because they think that this is breaking down underneath support. So once it reclaims that support level, they're now stuck and they're going to add into the squeeze if it starts to pick up some momentum. A lot of times this can be identified by long lower wicks on the candlesticks, but it is very important still to be familiar with the tape reading and to know what to look for when you're watching the tape, when you're watching the volume, and so on and so forth. But that is kind of just generally what I mean when I say that I'm seeing short sellers are likely trapped. And in this case with ELUT, it worked out nicely. We did get a quick squeeze up into the 180 area, and there was a nice trade opportunity that came from that. So anyway, those were my trades today. Today was my first red day in a while, but I'm happy to have had just a very small red day, despite the market conditions not being very favorable over the past month or so. Hopefully you guys are staying profitable or at least keeping your losses small during these market conditions. And hopefully you found some value in this video. If you did, please make sure to give it a like and subscribe to the channel. And of course, if you want to hear about these stocks that I'm trading in real time, and you want to work with our team of traders, get access to our day trade and swing trade alerts, our detailed trade plans, our live custom scanner streams, and so on and so forth. All of that can be found in the Market Master group. There's going to be a link down below in the description for you to get signed up. But anyway, thank you again for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and good luck with your trading.